You ready? So you want to be a gold miner? I've been in this a while, going back to the days of post tags and hand-drawn map. It's an adventure. We all dream of making a big discovery. I don't have to do this. I get to do this. Hi, John.
Hi.
Appreciate the call back.
No problem.
I was kind of curious on your thoughts for, like for placer mining and mining. I look like you're making some pretty good ground there in the polls, eh? And
Hopefully.
usually it's
Hopefully they will continue on with that progress.
well. That's kind of where I'm at. Is you know, generally it's always been either NDP or Liberal, and I don't know, unless they've really screwed up and you vote Green.
You know, BC has a history of every generation or two. It basically switches to a new party. It was the Conservatives, then it switched to the Liberals, then it switched to the Social Credit. You know, then it went to the NDP, of course. Then it went to the Liberals, and back to the NDP, and now the Liberals, or United as they call themselves today, just got too much baggage. And so we're in the process of basically putting together a new coalition party for the province.
Right. What are your thoughts for?
My hope is we'll be able to do that in one election, but you know, it may take two, but hopefully it'll just be in one.
It's possible. You know, I think you'll be able to gain some ground, especially in the mining industry. You know, especially the little guy. There's a lot of people that are having a lot of trouble right now. I really think it's deliberate. You know, I'm hard pressed to think that it just doesn't make sense. I've seen so many people get wiped out over the last 6 years of the NDP being in power.
But it is deliberate, and I'll tell you why. Because they know that a unionized job, a government job, is more likely to vote for them. And anybody that's independent, that's out making their own path in life. If they drive out of the province, that's just a vote that they know they would never get. And so these guys are ruthless in terms of what they do. I mean, this is the whole thing about for example, childcare workers. They gave the unionized workers 1.5% higher raise than they gave the non-unionized workers, simply because they want to try to make everybody unionized, and they're trying to force the private guys out, so that it's all government run. The same with services for children with autism. We have a gold standard model in BC in terms of services for children with autism. It needs to be expanded. There isn't enough of it. But their goal is to eliminate that and turn it all into a unionized hub, a government unionized hub. And just for the simple reason, the more that they can touch, the more that they can influence, the better chance they have of having a vote base for the next election. It's sad. It's really sad. And that's why, during COVID, all the box stores and stuff were to stay open, but the little guys couldn't. Because if they put all the little guys out of business, they're okay with that.
Yes, I've seen, when they got in, I did my best to kind of greet them with an open hand, a genuine kind of thing, and step forward. And I've had good relations with the Minister of Mines going all the way back to Lekstrom's days and the early days of the Liberals when they were in the early millennium.
Yeah.
And I've been completely alienated from the Ministry of Mines. In fact, I was actually recently banned from communicating with the Prince George office because I ended a call with one of their inspectors that just wasn't listening. And it's been hell, man. I actually started getting into writing. That's where the Golden Shovel came about, the Almanica Mining Association. All this kicked off in 2016. I had a claim outside of Mackenzie here. I had basically a school, 5 interns all over North America. I was working with scientists out of Florida, and we were bringing money into Mackenzie. I had created my own job, and the following year we filed a permit to cross the creek. Well, suddenly the world ended, and it was about 3 years of of trouble with this one inspector, independent decision maker. Okay, that he delayed and caused so much irreparable harm to the project that it was done. But I got my permit after founding an association and putting out an article about Williston Lake. And 2 weeks after that came out, he retired, and 2 weeks after that, I had my permit in hand. But the project was a wash.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's the way these guys look at things, and this whole issue with UNDRIP, for example, is purely the government still retains the ability to make a decision, but they refuse to make a decision unless it's approved by the First Nations.
Mm-hmm.
And where you've got a situation where you've got 5 or 6 First Nations, they won't agree, because if they do, they're ceding their authority to the other nations.
Yes.
And they don't want that, because they think it should be their territory. And so it creates just a nightmare. You can't get anything done. You can't get anything done. There's some forest companies have gone 2 years without getting a permit.
Yeah.
It's absolutely nuts.
Well, I'm not sure if you've spoken with Tom Shipitka.
I used to speak with him a lot, of course, until I got booted out of their party, and now we speak occasionally, but not as often.
Hey, you never know. Sometimes that's what it takes, is what you've gone through there, and next thing people start going, something, this guy's right. And
here's hoping that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah,
see if we can keep it going.
Well, I've been doing my best just to endure what I've been. I think what I've been going through, most people would have been completely wiped out by now.
Yeah.
I got to admit, I'm on the ropes. It's been
and I get it. I get it entirely. You look at the whole forest sector, and 2 years ago, I sat down with Analysts to talk about the forest sector. It was December 2021, I think it was. Might even be December 2020, but I think it was 2021. And the Analysts said to me, they had been meeting with the CEOs of the companies, and the CEOs were really confused why these analysts were asking these questions. And the analysts had to explain to them that, they didn't understand that the analysts have already valued all of BC's forest assets at zero. And they were trying to figure out if they could actually bring some value back onto the books, because the forest sector in BC is in such trouble that you can't sell an asset. If you can't sell an asset, how do you put a value on it?
Mike Morris put together, I just saw his 2-minute presentation to the House there, Legislative Assembly. He's very interesting that way. I respect what he has to say, because I come out of the Yanks Peak area. That's another thing, actually, just to bring up real quick about, is the hand miners. They're treating notice of works like for hand mining like a bloody mechanical permit, and it's completely unacceptable.
Well, and like I say, the reason why they're doing it is because of the pushback from First Nations. And that's why they're doing it, even though they know there's no impact, there's no issue. But that's just the way they're doing it. The province needs to address title. And it's I had a plan to do that when I was minister, and Christy got cold feet, so we weren't able to move very far in terms of where I wanted to be. But right now, the way the province is doing is they're basically saying that every square inch of the province could be title. So they have to. So they're treating it as if it is title. And it's not. Right. And this needs to change. The best thing we can do is actually just let's address title. Let's not have this nonsense carry on. Let's just address title.
Right.
If we do that, then we know what the rules are for the land that's there, that they have title on, and we know what the rules are for the land that they don't have title on. Everybody can go play.
Yes. Well, they just ruled now that the digital staking program, which was actually, it was a good thing in a way, more generated cash for the province. That's just been basically struck down.
Yeah, that's because the First Nations said they didn't want it, because there was no way that they could then have get a share.
A memorandum.
That was the reason for it, right?
Yeah. Well, the memorandum of understanding from the Williams Lake Indian Band has been reading. Like a legal document that is, they want $5,000 a year just for the privilege of you having a permit. Never mind do anything with it.
Yeah, Good. How are you? Hey, I'm sorry. I've just got to go on a radio show here shortly. I'd like to carry on this conversation. So I'll try you back here when I get a break.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr.
Okay.
Rustad.
Take care.
You as well.
Bye.
Good luck.